Joining us now, NBC News correspondents Vaughn Hilliard and Ken Dilanian, as well as former FBI supervisor Rob D'Amico. So, Vaughn, good morning. Patel wasn't necessarily a surprise pick. How did it come together?
This was a conversation that was taking place within the transition at the onset of their election night victory on November 5th. That Kash Patel was somebody who has remained a Donald Trump loyalist, not only over the course of the last 4 years since his exit from the White House, but even in the lead up to his election defeat, and especially in the 2 months following his election loss, when he went around the country and was promoting the election conspiracies that the election was stolen from him. But even more so, he was serving at the time in the capacity as chief of staff to the Deputy Secretary of Defense for Chris Miller. Kash Patel is somebody who had served as effectively the number two to Rick Grenell, who was acting director of national intelligence during the first administration. And this is somebody who Donald Trump has seen as a key loyalist who would root out effectively the idea of the deep state within the Department of Justice, the FBI, and somebody who he had his eyes on naming to this FBI director post. But part of the conversation among the transition was the extent to which he could be confirmed by the Senate.
Yeah, I mean, and Republican Senator Mike Rounds expressed support for current FBI Director Chris Wray, one day after Trump picked Wray's replacement. Take a listen to this.
Every president wants people that are loyal to themselves. But I'll also share with you that Chris Wray, who the president nominated the first time around, and I think the president picked a very good man to be the director of the FBI when he did that in his first term. When we meet with him behind closed doors, I've had no objections to the way that he's handled himself. And so I don't have any complaints about the way that he's done his job right now.
Ken, what's Trump's justification for ousting the current director? Does he even need one?
He doesn't need one, Jose, but that's a really important question, and it's kind of getting lost. And you heard Mike Rounds there articulate what is a real split within the Republican Party. But even Donald Trump, who hired Chris Wray, and let's remember Chris Wray is a Republican, former Justice Department official before he got to the FBI, even Donald Trump has not had much bad to say about Chris Wray. But he clearly has resented the fact that Wray was overseeing the FBI at a time when the FBI was helping the special counsel pursue criminal charges against Donald Trump. Wray, after all, had to sign off on that FBI search of Trump's Mar-a-Lago home to retrieve those classified documents. But Trump hasn't explicitly really called Wray out for that. Some other Republicans have, though. They've accused the FBI, without evidence, by the way, of being corrupt and being part of the deep state and of acting politically. Some Republicans have, but obviously people like Mike Rounds, the senator there, have not seen that. And in fact, Chris Wray has been a nondescript kind of typical FBI director. Most of what the FBI does has nothing to do with politics. It's a law enforcement agency. It's an intelligence agency. Wray has gotten high marks from many employees for kind of, sailing the ship through these choppy waters. And one interesting question here is whether Wray decides to keep working and forces Donald Trump to fire him, or whether he agrees to resign at some point. Jose.
Yeah, because, Rob, I mean, FBI directors have 10-year terms specifically to prevent this type of appointment of a loyalist. What does this kind of turnover mean for the rank and file?
So I'm hearing a lot on both sides. Some are just like horrified that a person that they don't believe is anywhere near qualified to be nominated for this. But I'm also hearing some frustration, especially from retired agents that do feel that the FBI has gotten more political in a sense. And that really came under Mueller, who started putting a lot back in headquarters. Before, cases were run out of field offices and investigations ran everything. After 9/11, Mueller, I think he liked the agency a bit too much. And I think he went over too far in that headquarters dictate so much. You have people in field offices that don't even work for the SAC there. They work for people at headquarters. And anytime you centralize around something in D.C., politics does creep in. So I'm hearing some old school guys saying, hey, we need to get back. They might not agree with the choice, but they also think maybe a radical change like this could help. So it's going both sides right now. But I think overall, they don't think this person is qualified, but they are looking for some type of change.
I mean, interesting, Rob, because here's what Patel said about a year ago about how he would run things. Take a listen.
We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out.
He also has insisted that the FBI not be all centered in Washington, D.C., Rob, but that it goes out into the country. The question is, can he, do you think, Rob, realistically carry out any of these plans if he does become the director of the FBI?
I don't think he can just wave a magic wand and make that happen. That's just not doable. Even like when Mueller got in, he had years of pushback from agents who weren't really out to see what he wanted. There was always a thing in the Bureau. If you're in a field office and you get a new special agent in charge, you don't like what he says, the old guys say, hey, just wait 2 years, he'll be gone. So I don't think he can do it instantaneously. You can't get rid of headquarters. It is supposed to move outside of D.C. to up in Maryland. But you can't get rid of those people. I do think some of the cases that get centralized and run out of there, if you put that back in the field office and you get away from analytical type things and you get back into investigations, I think that's what a lot of people want to see with the Bureau. I just don't know if taking a huge axe to it is going to work instead of a scalpel.